Hi, in this video we're going to learn how to work out the difference between two dates using the Datediff function. Now this video is part of a series of videos in which we look at all the basics of learning SQL, and the easiest way to find that full playlist is to subscribe, and then you can navigate to my playlist section where you can find all the videos on this section. You can also find the videos on my website www.padsresearch.co.uk. that stands for Physics, Aviation and Data Science, and that will have a full list of all the videos accompanied with an article for each video. So let's have a look at how we write the Datediff function. So we're going to select some data from the production.product table, and we're going to look at the modified date, and we're going to use getDate in order to do a comparison. So the syntax of the Datediff function is simply to say datediff, and then an open and close bracket so we can pass in some parameters. And the first parameter that we need to pass in is what part of the date do we want to do a comparison on. So for example, we can do years or months or days, and we need to give a little acronym depending on what we want to do. So in this case we're going to do years, so we'll type YY for years. And then the next function is, well, what dates do we want to compare? So we want to compare the modified date in this case. So let's take the modified date, copy and paste that in there. And then we want to compare it against something. So what we want to compare it against is the current date. So we're going to use the getDate function and open and close bracket. So we're going to say, what is the difference in years between the modified date and the getDate, i.e. the current date? And we'll give this an acronym, so let's say AS, and we'll call it years since modified. Okay, so let's execute that, and there we go. So this is now saying that there's been 10 years since we modified the date, because it says it got the current date, and it says what was the difference between the current date and when the record was last modified, and the answer to that is 10 years. We can look at other components of the date, so we can also look at for the months example. If we type for months and we execute that, now that gives us the number of months since the record was last modified. If you'd like to look at other date manipulation functions, so in the previous video we looked at how to use the dateAdd function, then you can find a link at the end of this video. Or if you're interested how to convert date formats from one thing to the other, again there's another link at the end of this video. If you want to go into a lot more detail on dates and all the other functions that are available in SQL Server, as well as look at lots more advanced topics, then I also have another course called A Complete Course in SQL, and you can find a link to that at the end of this video and on my website, which is www.padsresearch.co.uk. In the next video, we're going to look at SQL date formats, and we're going to look at how to convert a date into the particular format that we want.